Cyberpunk 2077 to 10 details before starting the title, every gamer should know. Cyberpunk 2077 is CD Projekt Red's most recent project. They've been working on the game for a couple of years now, teasing at updates, but the game itself seems to finally get closer. A lot of details concerning the game has been dropped at conventions, and the hype is strong. After all, this is the game developer that gave us The Witcher, which I think we can all agree is one of the best RPGs ever to have been made. So watch the video till end of what we already know and get hyped, because this is going on. My excitement grows each time I hear a new piece of info. And what's that idea not to love? 10. It will be a blueprint, a future vision of a dystopian society. As the name suggests, it will be cyberpunk, meaning it will be set far into the future. That means the world is down to a dystopia. Looks fairly bleak, right? It seems as if every game and piece of media out there that predicts technological improvements in the future also predicts that because of them, we will all be goners. But this tends to make the dark, gritty plotlines that I enjoy so much about futuristic media, so I don't complain. It's only interesting that this is where all fails, as if it's basically inevitable. However, I would like to hope not in real-life terms. 9. Cybernetic enhancements will be a thing. Whereas some games tend to focus on the difference between man and machine, such as Detroit, Become Human, another fantastic futuristic game, this game will also explore cybernetic enhancements for humans themselves and the trend of self-alteration. We don't have many details about this yet, only what we know from the trailer, but this will surely add an interesting element to the game. Especially racing through it as a character. It seems that these enhancements might not only be a part of the story but part of the actual characters. Imagine coming across merchants where you can buy actual enhancements for yourself rather than weaponry. Oh boy. 8. The combat system is apparently brutal. If you get shot, you die. That's what we've been told about this game. There's no health bar that dwindles down, no easy way of making your way through the combat. It's treated like real life where if you were shot once, you have a high chance of dying. This will be interesting since combat is one of the things that can make or break a game. I always enjoyed the combat in The Witcher 3, so I have faith they'll be able to nail the combat mechanics in this too. It's obviously going to be much different jumping from a medieval game to one set so far in the future, though. 7. It will have familiar locations. It's not going to be an entirely new world, the developers have already confirmed that some of the locations will be familiar from other things. Personally, I'm a fan of this. If I can recognize locations, then I feel like the game is more believable, and I feel more immersed in it. An entirely new world is always much harder to grasp, so even seeing the inspiration from certain places tends to help me lose myself in a game entirely. This isn't entirely new territory for CD Projekt. They're the ones who brought The Witcher to life from a series of books and based most of the game on those. 6. It will be released on the current generation of consoles and PC. This game was announced to be a planned thing in 2012, which is quite a while ago. But as of now, they're intending to release it for the current generation of consoles. This means that they only have a fairly short window to release the game from now on. They haven't given us a date, or even a decent range, but the gameplay trailer and this plan to focus on the current genre seems to mean that the game is going to be released very soon. Let's hope so. I'm dying for it. 5. It's based on a pen and paper RPG. Yes, when they talk about including familiar locations, they don't necessarily just mean in real life. They've confirmed that this game is based on a pen and paper RPG. Aren't they just great at adapting other mediums into video games? This seems to be what this game developer does best. It was developed in 1988 originally, called Cyberpunk 2020, and it's still available today in both paper and digital forms. You know, just in case you wanted to check it out prior to the game's release. Clearly, they had to change the title though. Unless things change drastically in the next year, that tabletop RPG didn't become a reality. Thankfully. 4. The main character will be customizable. They've been referring to the main character as V, but unlike their majorly successful game, V is not a set character, Geralt was. It's been confirmed that he was the hero of the story, with his whole backstory, appearance, and personality set out. V, however, has a blank slate. Their first name is open, their last name is open, their appearance, as is their gender. Much like other open-world games, such as Dragon Age or Skyrim, you're free to customize this character in whatever way you'd like to make the game more specific to you. That's pretty cool, honestly. I could spend ages customizing my character in games, so this is good news for me. 3. It will be a first-person game. That's actually kind of unusual for an RPG. They tend to go for third-person views, but this one will be experienced in first for the actual gameplay. That doesn't hold true for the cutscenes, though. Every little snippet of the game is interchangeable. But for the most part, first-person. It's an interesting choice, and presumably an attempt to make the RPG as immersive as possible. I'm not really sure how I feel about first-person since I'm not awesome at first-person shooters, but I'm willing to give this a go if it adds to the overall feel of the game. 2. Companions will be a thing in the game. One confirmed companion already is the bilingual Jackie. When asked if other companions would be present throughout the game, CD Projekt declined to answer, which makes me think that this means there will certainly be other companions, too. But who knows? Because of their lack of answer on this subject, it's unclear if the companions will be part of the main, mandatory story, or if they'll be optional people that can be collected for help. Maybe they'll need relationships built with them to be a true ally for you. Time will tell, I suppose. Hopefully, they'll be a huge help for V, though. 1. The game will be as vertical as it is horizontal. A really interesting factor of the game that CD Projekt recently specified is that sometimes, the game will involve traveling up and down, as well as over land. Since this is set in a city, sometimes, a lot of the game will be spread out over the skyscrapers and buildings rather than over the ground. It's a rather cool concept since I'm used to RPGs that mainly take place over vast, sprawling land. Actually, come to think of it, city RPGs aren't that common in general, so it's nice to see that the developer is taking full advantage of a potentially rich setting. I can't wait to see this game in action. Hurry up, CD Projekt. Don't forget to subscribe.